So, welcome to the Pilates class. Please begin by lying down on your mat. And so I just have a thin cushion just to give you a little bit of support underneath the head. So you might just want something to help you too. The idea when you're lying down is that your head shouldn't be tilted back and your chin higher than the nose. So just by having a little bit of support just to help create helps to create length. And then just have your arms comfortably down by your side, and please bring your attention to your right foot, and then just begin to point and flex the right foot. So pointing, you send the toes away from you, and when you flex the foot you send the heel away from you. So just gently pointing and flexing, but just a reminder to keep the heels slightly digging into the mat, particularly as you flex the foot. And if you keep the heel in, it'll help the movement to feed all the way up into the spine. And then pause and do the same with the left foot. So just gently, as the foot lies, just pointing and flexing the foot. As you flex, we're stretching out the calf muscles. As you point the foot, we're lengthening all the shin muscles. And then pause, keep both heels slightly digging into the mat as you begin to trace some circles with the big toes. But as you all know by now, it's not just the big toe that's involved in the circle, it's really everything, because the movement pushes and pulls into the pelvis and the spine. And then just reverse these circles, so nice easy circles, still thinking of the big toe side of the foot leading the movement. And then pause, and then have the little toe sides of the feet lead the circles. So it's just amazing how just thinking, switching to the little toe side just changes the sensation of the circles. And then reverse these circles too, so still thinking of the little toe side of the foot leading the movement. Good. Now pause, bring your feet so the toes are facing straight up towards the ceiling. You're on the centre of the back of the heel, and think of just curling all the toes under and then spreading them apart. So you curl the toes under, and then you think of spreading them apart, trying to create space between each toe, and then once more curling the toes under, and then think of spreading them apart. And then just pause, still on the centre of the back of the heel, and then just show the soles of the feet towards each other and then away from each other. So towards each other and then away from each other. So we're just inverting and everting the foot to give it its technical name. So just nice easy movement in the ankles. And then pause, please bring both feet to standing. So have them a comfortable distance apart, feet and knees about hip width or shoulder distance apart. And then you might remember this idea of a clock that we're lying on, painted on the back of our pants. Could you press down into both feet evenly to roll the pelvis towards the head, or to 12 o'clock, and then you think of the feet becoming light, as if you're going to lift them, but you're not actually lifting them, to help arch the lower back. So press down into both feet nice and evenly, and then you think of lifting the feet, but not lifting them, to help arch the lower back. So just a couple more like this, and then just see if you're using both feet equally. So it's very easy to have one foot press a little bit more quickly or a little bit more firmly than the other, and it's also often that you're just pressing into, say, the little toe side of the foot. So see if you can just use both feet equally to go to 12 o'clock and then to 6 o'clock. Good. Now pause, and please lengthen your left leg. Keep your right leg bent up, but make sure that the right foot isn't too close to the left leg. And then begin to do this movement of pressing down into the right foot so as to roll the pelvis not just to the left, but you're aiming the movement towards the left shoulder and the ribs on the left hand side. So for me, that means I have to pull in the tummy as well as pressing into the foot, just to make sure the movement is going in a diagonal towards the opposite shoulder, and still trying to keep the knee, as you press into the foot, looking towards the ceiling. Good. Now pause, and then please change the legs around. So right leg is long and the left leg is bent up. Again, just be careful you don't have the foot too close to the right leg. And then just see what it's like this Monday morning to press into the left foot, to roll the pelvis towards the right ribs, the right shoulder. So again, as you're pressing into the foot to initiate the movement, you might then need to pull in the tummy, particularly on the right hand side, just to make sure you're rolling down into the floor, as opposed to just contracting the back muscles to try and push the pelvis round. Good. And then pause, leave that alone, carefully bring both legs to standing. Just take your arms out at about, both arms at shoulder height, palms turned towards the ceiling. And then just allow the knees to tilt to the left as you breathe in. And then as you breathe out, pull in the tummy to that 12 o'clock position to help bring the legs back to centre. So you allow the knees to tilt to the right now as you breathe in. Exhale, pull in the tummy to bring the legs back to centre. And then tilt the knees to the left as you breathe in. Exhale, pull in the tummy to come back to centre. And now as the knees go to the right, look with the head and eyes to the left. And then pull in the tummy as you bring head and knees back to centre. And then knees to the left as you look with the head and eyes to the right. Pull in the tummy to come back to centre. And then once more to each side, just nice easy breathing, just to create a bit of a twist through the spine. And then last time, knees to the left, looking with the head and eyes to the right. Exhale, come back to centre. Now just bring your arms down, comfortably down by your side, and then please cross the right leg over the left. So right, the thighs crossed. And then begin to tilt the knees just to the right as you breathe in, but looking to the left with the head and eyes. Exhale, come back to centre. So knees just tilting to the right as you breathe in, looking with the head and eyes to the left. Exhale, come back to centre. And once more, knees to the left, to the right as you look to the left. Exhale, come back to centre. Now, keep the head and eyes in the centre. And just once more, tilt the knees to the to the right, my mistake, to the right, until you feel that left shoulder becoming light. And then allow the left shoulder to lift, so the knees go a little bit further. And then think of bringing the shoulder back down, then the ribs, pulling in the tummy and the knees. So you allow the knees to tilt to the right, and you'll feel there's a moment when the left shoulder wants to lift, so allow it then to lift, and then think of the shoulder going back to the floor first, followed by the ribs, the tummy and the knees. So just once more like that. So you allow the knees to tilt to the right till there's that moment when the left shoulder wants to lift. And then allow it to lift off the floor. Bring the shoulder back first, and then the ribs, the tummy and the knees. Good. Now pause, just change the cross of the legs. So left is crossed over right. And begin to tilt the knees to the left as you look with the head and eyes to the right. Exhale, pull in the tummy to bring the legs back to centre. So knees to the left, but you look with the head and eyes to the right. Exhale, pull the tummy in to come back to centre. And once more, knees to the left, look to the right with the head and eyes. Exhale, come back to centre. And now keep the head and eyes in the middle and tilt the knees to the left again until you discover that moment when the right shoulder wants to come away from the floor. Allow it to lift from the floor, and then bring the shoulder back, the ribs, the tummy and the knees. So again, you allow the knees to tilt to the left until you find that moment when the right shoulder wants to lift, and then allow it to lift. Bring the shoulder back first, followed by the ribs, the spine and the knees. Just do that once more. So knees to the left until that moment when the shoulder wants to come away, and then allow it to deliberately lift. Bring the shoulder back, bring the ribs back, the tummy and the knees. Good. And then just separate the two legs. Have the feet and knees a comfortable distance apart once more. And then fold your right knee in towards the chest. Take hold of it with the left hand, the right knee with the left hand, and bring your right hand behind the back of the head. Now take a good breath in to prepare. As you breathe out, think of lifting the head so the elbow and the knee come together, and at the same time can you flex the right foot, and then as you inhale, release the head and shoulders back down. So take a breath in. As you exhale, try and bring the elbow and the knee together as you flex the right foot. Inhale to release back down. And one more time, take a breath in. As you exhale, bring the knee and the elbow together as you flex the foot. Inhale to come back down. Now pause and just change legs. So it's your left leg in towards the chest. Still the left hand on the left knee, right hand behind the back of the head. Now take a breath in to prepare. As you exhale, blow the air out so you soften in the ribs to bring the elbow and the knee together as you flex the foot. Inhale to release back down. And two more like this. So take a breath in, exhale, use the breath. The more the chest can soften, the lighter the head becomes. And then one more time like this. Take a good breath in, exhale, fold the elbow and the knee together, flexing the foot. Inhale to release back down. Now keep the left leg where it is and just swap hands. So right hand on the left knee and the left hand behind the back of the head. Take a good breath in to prepare. As you exhale, fold the elbow and the knee together. Inhale to release back down. And two more like this. Take a breath in. Exhale, flexing through the foot at the same time. Inhale to release back down. And then last time, take a breath in, exhale, fold the elbow and the knee together, inhale to release back down. Now just change legs, so it's the right leg in towards the chest, right hand is on the right knee, left hand stays behind the back of the head. Take a breath in. As you exhale, try and bring the elbow and the knee together as you flex in the foot. Inhale to release back down. And then two more to go, so take a breath in. Exhale, fold the elbow and the knee together. Inhale to release back down. And then one more time, take a good breath in. Exhale, fold together. And then inhale to release back down. Just bring the arms back down by the side for a second. And then bring both knees in towards the chest. Wrap your left forearm behind the backs of the knees. Right hand comes behind the back of the head. Now take a good breath in to prepare. As you exhale, think of sliding your feet up an imaginary wall as you lift the head and shoulders to look at the tummy. Inhale to release back down. And then two more like this. Take a breath in. Exhale, you're just sliding the legs up an imaginary wall, not bringing them in towards the head. Inhale to release back down. And then one more time, take a breath in. Exhale, fold up. That's it. Inhale to release back down. Such a good exercise for, change the arms around I should say, such good exercise for getting that middle part of the back to release down towards the floor. So left hand is behind the head, right forearm behind the backs of the knees. Take a good breath in. Exhale to lift up, sliding the feet up an imaginary wall. Inhale to come back down. And then two more like this. So take a breath in. Exhale to fold up. Inhale to release back down. And then last time, inhale. Exhale to fold up. Good. Inhale to release back down. Good. Just bring both feet down onto the floor and have the arms just comfortably down by your side, and then begin to slide your right shoulder up to the ear as the left shoulder slides away from the ear, and then just reverse that, so the right shoulder slides away from the ear and the left shoulder up to the ear, and just alternate, bringing one shoulder up as the other slides away from the ear and vice versa, but just try to keep the head and eyes just in the middle, just to get some movement into the base of the neck. So just from sliding one shoulder up to the ear and then the other away. Good. Now pause, bring your hands just onto your tummy for a second. Now take a breath in, and as you breathe out, pull in that spot 2 inches below the navel, so that your lower back is really down towards the floor and your pelvis is super stable. And then inhale, float the right leg in towards the chest, but this time have it in a tabletop position. And then as you exhale, turn the leg out in the hip, so the sole of the right foot reaches to the inside of the left knee. And then inhale to stretch the leg long up towards the ceiling, so it's turned out and pointed, and then you flex the foot as you lower the leg to hover a couple of inches off the mat. Point, inhale, turn in, bring it back in towards the chest. Exhale, turn the leg out in the hip. Inhale to reach it long up towards the ceiling. Exhale to flex and lower. Point, turn in, bring it in, and then exhale, turn it out. Reach up towards the ceiling with a point. Flex to lower long, point, turn in, bring it back in, and then exhale, turn it out. Reach the leg long up towards the ceiling with a point, flex to lower, point, turn in, inhale to float it in, exhale, carefully put the foot all the way back down onto the floor, and now keep that spot 2 inches below the navel pulled in as you inhale to float the left leg in towards the chest in this tabletop position. As you exhale, turn the leg out in the hip, so the sole of the left foot is looking towards the inside of the right knee. And then inhale to stretch the leg long up towards the ceiling with a point. Flex to lower, but not to touch the floor. Point, turn in, float it back in. Exhale, turn it out in the hip. Inhale to reach it long up towards the ceiling. Flex to lower, point, turn in, bring it back in. Exhale, turn it out. Inhale up to the ceiling with a point, flex to lower, point, turn in, bring it back in. Exhale, turn it out, reach it up, long up towards the ceiling, flex to lower, point, turn in, float it back in, and then carefully put the foot all the way back down on the floor. Now just let the pelvis return to a neutral position as you take another breath in, and then exhale once more, pull that lower tummy in firmly to really anchor the pelvis and the sacrum down towards the floor. And then inhale, bring the right leg into tabletop position again. Exhale, turn it out in the hip. Reach the leg long up towards the ceiling with a point. And now we'll do battement. So straight down with a flex, point and bring it straight back up. Go down with a flex, point to bring it straight back up. Go down with a flex, point to bring it back up, down with a flex, point to bring it back up. Have 2 more to do. Point to bring it back up, exhale to lower, point to lift, hold, bend the knee in towards the chest, float the foot back down, and then inhale to hinge the left knee into a tabletop position. Exhale, turn the leg out in the hip. Inhale to reach the leg long up towards the ceiling, initially with a point, and then you flex to lower, point to bring it straight back up. Flex to lower, point to lift. As you lower, you'll particularly need to engage that spot 2 inches below the navel so that the movement of the leg is not taking you into a back bend. Let's just do 2 more. Exhale to lower, point to lift, flex to lower, and then point to lift. Bring the leg back into the chest, carefully put the foot back down, and then release the pelvis. And then please come to roll to one side and come up onto all fours for some cat stretches. So cat stretches, you just want the hands to be underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Just to remind you, if your wrists are a bit iffy, you can always have a pad underneath the heel of the hands or roll up the end of your mat. If that doesn't provide relief, you can just be on your knuckles, working on strengthening the wrist, or if that too fails, you can also just stay on the forearms, but if you can, come up onto the palms of the hands. Check your knees are underneath your hips, so that the legs aren't slanting backwards, and then just press down into the arms, particularly the little finger side. Try to reach that down into the mat, and what that will do, it will just help to wrap the shoulder blades round onto the chest, so that you're not winging in the shoulders. Now take a breath in to prepare. As you exhale, release the air, round the back up towards the ceiling, and let your head be as heavy as possible. Inhale, and then exhale, begin to turn the tailbone towards the ceiling as you just look slightly beyond the end of your mat. And then again, take a breath in, exhale, round up, release the head, pull up the ribs, pull in the tummy, inhale, and then tip the tailbone up towards the ceiling to look slightly forward and up. Now pause and just change the hand position so the fingers are facing towards each other, and allow the elbows to soften. See, this time there's a ring, the arms have formed a ring or circular shape. Just check your shoulders stay away from the ears, keep pressing down into the hands. Take a breath in. As you exhale again, round the back up towards the ceiling, let the head hang. Inhale, and then tip the tailbone up as you come into a gentle extension, and then one more time, take a good breath in, exhale, release the back, pull the ribs in, release the head, inhale, and then exhale, reverse. And then point the fingers to face to the outside, and just to remind those of you hyperextenders, careful with this hand position, you're not locking into the elbows, so you want to try and keep a slight softness there. Take a good breath in, and then as you exhale, release the head, pull the ribs in, pull the tummy in, and then inhale, and then exhale, reverse. Good. Just one more time, take a breath in, exhale. It's as though you're trying to lift yourself off the floor through the action of the tummy muscles, pulling the back up towards the ceiling. Inhale, and then reverse. Now point the fingers forward once more, and this time do come down onto the forearms, but just check that your elbows are underneath your shoulders, that they're not flaring out to the side, just so to protect your shoulder joint. And then take a good breath in. As you exhale, release the breath. Try to brush the floor with the crown of the head as you look between the knees. Pull in the tummy and the ribs. Inhale, and then exhale, reverse. And then two more like this. So take a good breath in, exhale, release the head. Let the head go down towards the floor as you look underneath. Inhale, and then exhale, reverse. And then last time, take a breath in, pull in the tummy, try to round the back up towards the ceiling. Inhale, and then exhale, reverse. So please come back onto all fours, and then begin to imagine you're being lifted up and back from the pelvis, as if someone's got hold of your pelvis and they're tilting it backwards to lift you up and back to sit on your heels. And then begin to look forward with the head and eyes. Look forward, so the spine follows the head forward. And then release the head. Again, imagine you're being lifted, picked up from your pelvis and lifted up and back towards the heels. And then look forward once more with the head and eyes, so that the spine follows the head forward. Now stay looking forward, and just think of as though the bottom is being pulled back by some elastic bands towards the heels, and then round to come forward, and then look forward and think of the bottom going back this time towards the right heel if possible, but stay looking forward, and then round, come forward, look forward and think of the bottom, it's being drawn back towards the left heel, that's it, and then round, come forward, and then look forward, think of the bottom going back to the right heel, and just hovering there to polish that heel with the bottom. So just check the jaw is nice and relaxed, you're breathing easy, and then come forward again, and then think of the bottom going straight back towards the left heel, and then just think of polishing that heel with the bottom if you're able to, and then round, come forward, look forward and think of the bottom going back to the right heel as you slide the left leg away from you long on the floor. So just into this kind of variation of a split, and then come forward again onto all fours, and then think of the bottom going back towards the left heel as you slide that right leg away from you, and then come forward. And we'll just do that once more. So bottom back towards the right heel, the left leg slides away until that knee just goes beyond the other foot. And then just see if you need to walk the hands in as if your tailbone is going to find the floor to the other side of your right heel. If it lands, so much the better, but don't force anything. And then to come back, think of the head lowering slightly, the pelvis lifting, and then coming back onto all fours. And then we'll go to the other side, so you think of the pelvis going back to the left heel, that other leg slides away from you, and then just think, can you slowly allow the pelvis to lower? So you're not looking to commit yourself, you could always reverse this if you wanted to, and then lift from the pelvis, come back onto all fours. Now slowly begin to walk the hands back to see if you can sit on both heels, just to release the front of the foot. And then if you are sitting on your heels, just have your hands by your side, turn the fingers to face behind you, and then just see if you can peel the hands down so that you come to the palm of the hand, and then peel back up, and then once more just see if you can peel the hands down, and then come back up, and then come back onto all fours, curl your toes under, and then just see, can you walk back? So if you can sit on the heels, so much the better, but only go to where you can comfortably. Good. And then come forward, point the toes once more. You can just see if you can sit back on the heels. Good. And then come forward, curl the toes under, and again just see if you can sit back on the heels. Good. Now if you can sit on the heels, just see, can you come up onto the knees, and then think of the bottom going back to the heels. So if you can't do it with the toes curled under, you can do this with the foot flat. But if you're on the heels, just see, can you come forward onto the knees, and then think of the bottom going back. Now bring the hands forward, have the fingers facing each other, ready for this twist. So you take a breath in. As you exhale, slide the right hand all the way away from you on the floor as you look towards the ceiling. Inhale, and then exhale, come back, and then to the other side. So take a breath in, exhale, reach the left hand away from you. Inhale, exhale, come back, and once more each side. So take a breath in, exhale, slide that right arm away from you so that shoulder lengthens away from the spine. Exhale to come back, and then last time to the other side. So take a breath in, exhale, reach that left arm away from you. Inhale, and then exhale to come back. Please leave it low and come to lie down on your back. So have the feet and knees about hip distance apart once more. with the arms just comfortably by your side. And then take a good breath in, and as you exhale, push both feet down into the floor again to begin to initiate that curling of the pelvis. It's as if the tailbone is going up towards the ceiling between the legs. And see if you can continue to peel the spine off the mat, vertebrae by vertebrae, till you come to that area between the shoulder blades. Now inhale, once you get there. As you exhale, keep the pelvis high as you peel back down from the breastbone into the spine till the lower back lands, and then you release into neutral. So once more, take a breath in, push down into the feet evenly to curl the pelvis, begin to peel the spine off the mat. As you're peeling the spine off the mat, think of the thighs lengthening towards the knees, and then you inhale at the top, keep the pelvis high, keep the pressure down into the legs as you fold back down from the breastbone into the spine till the lower back lands, and then you release into neutral. Now let's just challenge the abdominals by bringing the arms up towards the ceiling. Careful to keep a slight softness in the elbows and the hands and the wrists so that your shoulders are heavy into the floor. Now take a good breath in. As you exhale, push down into the feet evenly so you get that curl, and then you begin to peel up, thinking of the thighs lengthening towards the toes to help you. Now inhale without stiffening the arms or the wrists. As you exhale, peel the back down. It's as though you're an airplane coming down to land and you want to make sure you're not wobbling from side to side. Let's do one more. Take a good breath in. Exhale, push the feet down into the floor to begin to peel up. Inhale, and then exhale, slowly peel all the way back down to release. Now just bring the arms down by your side to begin with. Actually, if you can have the hands on the tummy as well. And then think of just bringing your right shoulder forward and then letting it release back towards the floor. So just think of the right shoulder coming forward and then releasing back to the floor. So shoulder, right shoulder, as it comes forward, you're thinking of it going towards the left side of the pelvis, and then release. And then pause and bring your left shoulder forward, and then let it release all the way back down to the floor. So you think of the left shoulder coming forward, letting it release all the way back down to the floor. And as the shoulder comes forward again, think it's going towards the right side of the pelvis, and then release. Now pause, come back to your right shoulder, and as you bring the shoulder forward towards the left side of the pelvis, can you think of the left side of the pelvis coming towards the right shoulder, and then you release back down. So once more, right shoulder to the left side of the pelvis and vice versa, and then release. And now think of the left shoulder coming forward to the right side of the pelvis and vice versa. Good. And once more, left shoulder to the right side of the pelvis and vice versa. Good. Release. Now make sure your hands are on your tummy, and think a terrible 2-year-old is sitting on your tummy and is going to jump up in the air and then land down on your stomach. So how do you protect yourself from that landing? Your clue is you take a good breath in. Let the breath reach into all 4 corners, pelvis and the shoulders. As you exhale, think of those shoulders coming forward to the opposite sides of the pelvis and vice versa, so that your back goes down into the floor as the shoulders come away from the floor, and then release. So once more, take a breath in. As you exhale, think of both shoulders coming forward in a diagonose to the opposite sides of the pelvis and vice versa, so your back is down into the floor. Inhale to release, And then one more time like this. So take a breath in. Let the breath open the chest, open the tummy. As you exhale, blow the air out and allow those ribs to soften, the pelvis to move, so back goes down into the floor. Good. Now we're going to challenge that abdominal work by lifting the head. So interlace the hands and bring them behind the back of the head. Keep the elbows just slightly pointing towards the ceiling. Now take a good breath in. As you exhale, lift the head and the shoulders. So same thing that we just did. So that 2-year-old is landing down, looking at the tummy. Inhale to hold, and then exhale on the inhale. As you release, inhaling, let the head and shoulders come back down. So you take a breath in. As you exhale, point the elbows forward, lift the head and shoulders to look at the tummy. Inhale to hold, and then exhale to release back down. Just have 3 more to go. Take a good breath in. Exhale to fold up. So chest and tummy is lifting the head rather than the neck muscles. Inhale to release back down. And last time, take a good breath in. Exhale to fold up. Good. And then inhale to release back down. Just release the arms back down by the side, and then just roll the head and eyes to look to the one side and the other. Just nice and lazily rolling of their head. Good. And then pause in the centre. Keep your eyes focused on a spot on the ceiling if you can, and then just roll the head from one side to the other, but trying to keep the eyes focused on that spot. And you really want to try and find the corner of your eyes, not just the corner of your glasses if you're wearing them. Good. And then pause, come back to centre, and then once more roll the head and eyes, allowing the eyes to lead the way. Good. Now just pause, and then keep the hands on the tummy once more. And now, can you think of pressing your right shoulder back into the mat and release? Right shoulder back into the mat and release. And now left shoulder, can you press that back into the mat and release? Left shoulder, press that back into the mat and release. Good. And now could you press the right side of the pelvis down, pull the right side of the pelvis down into the mat, release. Pull the right side of the pelvis down into the mat. So of course the left side will lift a little bit. And then pull the left side of the pelvis down into the mat, release. Pull the left side of the pelvis down into the mat, release. And now think of the right shoulder and the left side of the pelvis being pulled down to the mat. Right shoulder and the left side of the pelvis, pull them down into the mat. And now left shoulder and right side of the pelvis, try and pull them down into the mat. Again, left shoulder and the right side of the pelvis, pull them down into the mat. Good. And then please leave that alone and come to lie on the A side. So I'm lying on my left side because that's closest to the camera. You can support the head on a cushion, or you can have the underneath arm long, or you can rest the head in the palm of the hand. So your top arm is just giving you a little bit of support on the mat. And then bend both knees up at hip height with one knee on top of the other. And then lengthen your right leg, top leg, down and away from you, just in line with the hip. Good. And now inhale to flex the right foot. Exhale to lift the leg hip height. But as you lift the leg, it's as if you're hitching up the right hip slightly so that the ribs, the whole of the right side shortens. Now inhale to point the foot, exhale to lengthen and lower. So you inhale to flex the foot first, exhale to lengthen and lift till it's hip height. Keep the toes and knees facing forward. Inhale to point the foot, exhale to slowly lower. So inhale to flex first, really send that heel away from you as you inhale to lengthen and lift, inhale to point, and then exhale to lengthen and lower. So once more, inhale to flex, exhale to lengthen and lift, inhale to point the foot, exhale to lengthen and lower. So now we add a variation. Inhale to flex, exhale to lengthen and lift. So it's just slightly above the line of the hip. Now inhale to sweep the leg forward in an arc, exhale to point and take it back just behind the line of the hip. Inhale to come forward with a flex, exhale to point and take it back in an arc. Inhale to come forward with a flex, don't let the leg dip as it comes forward. Inhale to point and take it back in an arc, and once more come forward with a flex, and then hold the leg there and pulse up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Take it back about 45 degrees, and again 5, 4, it's not a big lift, 3, 2, 1. Good. And take it back till it's just behind the line of the hip, and see if you can go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Feel that lovely work in the outer hip muscles. Now bring the leg down, all the way back down, and then change the legs around so your underneath leg is long. Your top leg can be stretched out in front of you or slightly bent. I like it to be long. And then first of all, with just allow that long leg, so for me it's my left leg, just to turn out a little bit. So in other words, the heel is pointing up towards the ceiling with the foot is pointed. And then you inhale to lengthen the leg away from you. Imagine it's being lengthened out of the hip joint. Keep it long as you exhale to lift, inhale to hold, and then exhale to lower. So always lengthen first, so to engage all the leg muscles, exhale to lengthen and lift. Inhale to hold, and then exhale to lower. Once more, inhale to lengthen, exhale to lengthen and lift. Inhale to hold, exhale to lower, and now we'll add a variation. So inhale to lengthen, exhale to lengthen and lift. Now can you do 5 small circles in one direction, keeping the leg lengthening though, and then reverse the circles for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold that lifted position and then exhale to release the leg back down. Please come to lie on your other side. So for me it's I'm lying on my right hand side. Right hand is underneath the head, but you can also just let the head rest long on the arm. And then bend the knees up, and then lengthen your top leg down and away from you. So just be careful, the toes and the knees are facing forward, not up towards the ceiling. And then you inhale to flex the foot, exhale to lift it till it's just a little bit above the line of the hip. Toes and knees facing forward, inhale to point, exhale to lengthen and lower. So inhale to flex first, exhale to lengthen and lift, inhale to point the foot, and then exhale to lengthen and lower. Don't just drop the leg, so that keeps it engaged. So inhale to flex, exhale to lengthen and lift, inhale to point the foot, exhale to lengthen and lower. 2 more. Inhale to flex, keep flexing as you lift, inhale to point and reach, and then exhale to lower. So now for the variation, inhale to flex first, inhale to lengthen and lift, exhale to come forward with a flex, inhale to point and take it back in a big arc behind you. Come forward with a flex, don't let the leg dip, inhale to point and take it back in an arc just behind you. Come forward with a flex and back with a point. Keep breathing, coming forward with a flex and then back with a point. And come forward with a flex and go back with a point. And then come forward with a flex and hold and then lifting for 5, just an inch or so, 2, that's for 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, take it back about 45 degrees and pulse up for 5, 4, just a small amount, 3, 2, 1, just take it behind the line of the hip and pulse up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then carefully lower. So we've just been exploring kind of all parts of these outer gluteal muscles and there. So switch legs, so your top leg is in front of you, either bent or long, and your bottom leg is stretched out long and away from you, and because I've got a slight turnout, the heel is going to lift first rather than the toes. So you inhale to lengthen, imagine it's being lengthened out of the hip joint, exhale to lengthen and lift, inhale to point, to hold, exhale to lengthen and lower. You want to try and imagine, so where my fingers are pointing, so the top of the thigh, it's as though there's kind of like a spring pressing that area down. So the lift is actually coming from there rather than the foot, as though you're pressing up against a spring resistance. Inhale to hold, and then exhale to lengthen and lower. So inhale to lengthen, exhale to lengthen and lift. Inhale to hold, and then exhale to lower. And 2 more. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to lengthen and lift. Inhale to hold, and then exhale to lower. And then we'll add the variation. So inhale to lengthen, exhale to lengthen and lift. Now hold it and see if you can do 5 small circles in one direction with control. That's 2 and 1, and then reverse for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, and then carefully release. Good. Please just come to lie on your front for a second and have your hands, so rest the forehead down on the mat and interlace your hands and bring them behind the back of the head. So they're just resting on the back of the skull. Now keep the head down, and just lift the elbows off the floor and then lower them back down. So you're just lifting the elbows off the floor and then lowering them back down. As you lift them off the floor, can you feel the shoulder blades coming together as the elbows lift and then release? And then if you can feel that, try to initiate the lifting of the elbows from that squeezing of the shoulders together. See if you can, it's like putting the car in gear first. See if you can squeeze the shoulders together to lift the elbows and release. Squeeze the shoulders together to lift the elbows and release. Once more, squeeze the shoulders to lift the elbows, good, and then release. Now pause, bring your hands one on top of the other underneath your chin, so I'm just looking slightly forward, and then as you inhale, can you lift the hands and the head and the elbows together, just a small amount, and then lower back down. So you inhale to lift the head and the arms as a piece, exhale to lower back down, and then once more lift with the head and the hands. Now keep the head where it is, just lower and lift the arms a few times, just keeping the head slightly lifted, good, and then release, come all the way back down. Now just rest your forehead on the backs of the hands, and then just roll the chest and the pelvis a little bit from one side to the other, just to relieve any tension that may have crept into the back. Good. Now pause, turn your face so the right cheek is on the mat. Have your right arm down on the floor beside you, palm towards the ceiling, and your left hand can just be somewhere near the head. And then bend both knees keep your feet and knees absolutely glued together as if they've been tied together. So the soles of the feet are towards the ceiling. And then as you inhale, begin to tilt the legs as a piece to the right, and then exhale to come back. So you're inhaling to tilt the knees to the right, and then exhaling to come back. Because the legs are glued together, it means your left leg is going to rest on the right as the knees tilt off to the right. Good. And then come back. Now pause, just let the legs go long for a second, and then change round. So it'll be your left cheek on the mat, left arm down by your side, and right hand just somewhere comfortably near the head. And then bend the knees, keep them absolutely glued together once more, and begin to tilt the legs as a unit to the left. Exhale to come back. So you're inhaling to tilt the legs behind you, and then exhaling to come back, and then one more time tilting the legs to the left, and then exhaling to come back. Good. And then just let the legs go long. And then this time, bring both hands on top of each other once more, and then turn the face once more to your left. So your right cheek is going to rest on the backs of the hands. And then bend both knees again, keep the feet and knees absolutely glued together, and go carefully, begin to tilt them once more behind you to your right, and then exhale, come back to centre. So you can feel, as you're tilting the knees to the right, you're really rolling to the right hand side of the chest, aren't you? The right hand side of the tummy, to facilitate this. So it becomes a twist that travels all the way through the spine. Good. And now pause the next time the feet are towards the ceiling, and go carefully, begin to tilt them to the right, to the left, sorry, and then exhale, come back. So you're tilting them in the same direction that you're facing. So it's a stronger twist, it's a double twist in the spine. Inhaling to tilt, exhaling to come back, and now pause and begin to tilt the legs in one direction and then the other. So just nice easy breathing, going at your own pace, not forcing anything, just feeling this movement travelling through the spine. And then pause, just let the legs go long for a second, and then turn the face so it's the left cheek on the backs of the hands. This is such a great move. If you have been gardening at the weekend, it's a great way of undoing some of the back knots in the back. So you have the left cheek on the backs of the hands, bend both knees again, keep feet and knees together, and begin to tilt them behind you first of all to the left, exhale to come back. So inhale to tilt, exhale to come back. Nice easy breathing, jaw nice and relaxed. Feel this pull that's created through the spine. And now carefully begin to tilt them in the direction you're facing to the right and back. Tilting them to the right and back. And once more to the right and back. And then begin to tilt them in both directions. Both directions. Nice, easy breathing. Good. And then pause, come back to centre. Just rest the forehead on the backs of the hands again. And then once more, just roll the chest and the pelvis a little bit from side to side, just to ease off the back. Good. Now, bring your hands by the chest in a press-up position. And then bring your chin onto the mat, looking beyond the mat. And then think of bringing, so you're looking underneath yourself, so the forehead or the crown of the head comes onto the mat. So you're letting the chin come forward onto the mat, and then you'll think of looking underneath yourself on the mat. Come forward with the chin, and then look underneath yourself. Good. And then pause, curl your toes under. Now lift the tummy and the hips to press up into all fours. Bring your big toes together, keep the knees shoulder width apart, and just let your bottom sit back to the heels again and rest the forehead down or the head down. Just breathe here. And then look forward, come back onto all fours, curl the toes under, walk the hands back to the knees. Now lower the head down, lift the knees on the bottom to bring the heels down, and then lift up through the tummy to roll up through the spine to come up to standing. And once you come up to standing, have the feet comfortable distance apart. And then inhale to reach the arms long up towards the ceiling. Exhale down by your side. And then two more like this. So inhaling up and exhaling down. And one more time. Inhaling and exhaling. Good. And give yourself a clap.